So we looked at specific gifts, and now we're looking at the residuary beneficiaries. I said at the last, well, for specific gifts, there are two types of gifts. Specific gifts like a car or a couple of $100,000. They're specific, they're named. They're not good, you should not do them. And we're now moving to how you should be dealing with your entire estate, and that is beneficiaries, or rather residuary beneficiaries, because they're picking everything up as a percentage. So I'm going to type in 100% here. In that case, this person here will get everything, 100% of the estate. If it was, say, 50%, then I type in 50, and then I press add another, type another 50%, then add another. And obviously, if I've got 3 children, then I'd press a third, and I'd change it to 33 and a third, which is 1/3. But I may want to benefit one child over another. That's fine. I could decrease this child to 30% and increase one of the other children. It doesn't have to be equal. Well, politically, you leave everything equally to the children, but that's not necessarily the case. Well, how do the children then work out who gets what? Don't control from the grave. Don't rule from the grave. The children will work out what they want. They've got flexibility because there's a 3-generation testamentary trust where one child can take real estate, another child can take shares, another child can take cash, and there's generally no stamp duty or capital gains tax being triggered by that. If the children fight, even if the children hate each other, which is often the case because there's a lot of stress with mum dying or dad dying, a lot of grief, the self-interest usually kicks in, and very rarely do we see the children wasting money on litigation. If you are yet to have children, but you're ever hopeful, then what you can do is you'll name, well, follow the hint which says my unborn, similar to how you can do it in your executive clause, my unborn children. I did this in my wife and I did this in our will, and we only updated it because we added a divorce protection trust in the legal consolidated, the 3-generation legal consolidated wills, which you're getting. We added a divorce protection trust in the late 20th century, or 1999, I suppose. But so, and I'll just put in my home address, and I leave everything 100% to my unborn children. In which case, I better delete the other 2 children. I don't have any children. I've just got that. So unborn children, that goes there. Now, if you don't have children, you never have children, then we will pick it up next in the next question being a disaster clause. This is if everything goes wrong, your children are dead or never born. But we'll do that later. Now, if you're leaving classes, like you may want to leave 10% to, let's say you want to leave 10% to the grandchildren, we don't necessarily recommend it because the grandchildren generally are more flighty than the parents because they're younger. But if you did want to do that, then you can leave. You don't have to name the 22 grandchildren. You can just put in my grandchildren or my nephews and nieces. So I'll go with my nephews and nieces. So it might be my nephews and nieces, and I'm going to give them 100%. This person doesn't have any children, so that's what they want to do. And you'd put in just your home address. Charities, you must put in the Australian business number. So there it is there. Just put in the 11-digit ABN, Australian business number. Now, I'm going to do a separate video on children that are vulnerable. So either they're a spendthrift or they're suffering from mental issues, because we're going to actually dial up their age of majority to 99 years of age. And we'll do that training course in a minute, and you'll be able to watch it as a separate one. So if you have a child who is never going to be able to handle money for whatever reason, then there's a special training course on that, which will be on this page. Now, if you've got a naughty child that is just a little bit, what should we say? It's not developing as quickly as what you would hope, and you may want to dial up the age of majority. So your general age of majority in this will is 18. And that's for all beneficiaries. However, we have the opportunity here to change the age of majority for one particular child. So let's call him Colin. Colin James Buss. So with young Colin, look, he's just too flighty at the moment, and there's a lot of money involved. So I'm still leaving him, I've got 3 children, so I'm still leaving him 33 1/3%. I'm still leaving him 1/3 of the estate, but I'm going to leave it to him when he's 40. When he's 40. So all the other children are getting their money at 18, but for young Colin, he'll get it at 40. Oh, but Professor Davies, you were waxing lyrical only in a couple of questions earlier, saying you should really not do that. Look, I mentioned previously not to put in an age of majority for fun, because you just think the children aren't performing to your expectations. It's extremely expensive to look after money, but in this instance, the child is a spendthrift. The child has not proven well, been a bit druggy, whatever, so we're going to dial up the age of majority to 40. You can update your will for free, and we might well reduce that back to 18 in 5 or 6 years' time, but at the moment I'll leave it at 40. So if you have a valid reason to dial up the age majority above the usual 18 years or 21 years, then you do it. But you don't do it flippantly. But in this case with Colin, we think it's the best thing to do. So that is your residuary beneficiaries. 2 types of beneficiaries: specific gifts, specific beneficiaries, and residuary beneficiaries who get everything by way of percentage. Next question will be on the disaster clause.